This meta sucks. Let's talk about it. Alright nerds, a quick thank you to everyone who enjoys my mediocre content. I recently went over 250 subs, a small milestone but still nice to see. What I enjoy more though is reading and interacting with everyone via the comments. They always bring a smile to my face, so to everyone who subbed, liked the videos, comments with something nice, funny, or even discussing the gameplay, or even just watches them, thank you. Making these videos is a hobby for me, a creative escape from the 9-to-5 maddening repetition that is my life. And I'll continue to keep making them so long as all of you out there keeps enjoying them. So again, thank you. Okay, niceties aside, it's time we had a conversation about the current state of the meta. It's been bad for a while now. I've done some rant videos in the past about Eudora and Rag, but this time it's different. There's an issue in the game now that's bigger than just one hero or even two heroes being imbalanced. But it's not just one issue, it's a layer cake of different problems, from power creep to developer oversight to bugs. Ever since elementals have been introduced, the game has, let's just say, been much less enjoyable to play. So typically on my videos I have scripted narration where I provide hero and build guides and overall battleground strategy, but not this time. I want to do this more freeform since it's more therapeutic in nature. A venting session. But look, not just for me, for all of you out there, because I know I'm not alone in my sentiments. My frustration is echoed throughout the community as a whole. So there's a few things I want to cover. First, the state of the meta. A look at the tribes and how they're balanced. Next, a closer look at elementals and what makes them so strong. And finally, how do we fix this? And spoiler alert on this final point, the answer is, I don't know. I really don't. There are so many issues with elementals, which we'll get into, that it's not like Murlocs where you remove Megasaur or Demons where you move Floating Watcher from tier 3 to 4. The issues I mentioned tie back into the point I made earlier about developer oversight. But before I sail too far off into the tangent ocean, let me pivot back, anchor up, and follow these 3 points. That way this rant will have at least the appearance of structure. And quick disclaimer before we hop in, they're doing some construction in my building, so if you hear some strange noises, don't worry, I'm not under attack. I mean, maybe a little bit from jackhammers and drills, but I'm fine, don't worry. Okay, the state of the meta. Elementals are king, nothing too surprising there, but the issue is how strong they are and how fast you can scale with them. It makes other tribes essentially pointless. I mean, when's the last time you've seen a top 4 lobby where there haven't been multiple people going elementals? Honestly, since elementals have been introduced, I've had a handful of pirate first places, 1 demon first place, and literally 0 with mechs. 0, not an exaggeration. Dragons and Murlocs are the only other 2 viable tribes, and even dragons are still hard to pull off. A lot of times you just get outscaled by elementals or run into divine shield, poisonous tech before you can find an Adina. And yes, you can win with Murlocs, but that's because of the state of this meta. Poison is needed right now to counter the huge elemental builds that people have every single game. So mechs, demons, and pirates are weak. Oh, and beasts? Well, they can win, but it's a very specific build. Macaw, Goldrin, Baron, and probably some Hydras. So long story short, elementals far and away the best tribe, and everything else has to be teched specifically to beat that one tribe. But the issue with this meta isn't just about elementals, it's the state of the heroes too. Look at the top tier of heroes. Based on the HS replay stats for the top 1%, what do all of these heroes have in common, outside of a few exceptions? They generate gold economy with their hero powers. And we'll get deeper into this when we talk a little bit more about the issues with the elemental tribe as a whole, but this meta incentivizes more power leveling. But also, elementals introduced provide tools that make it much easier to do this. Look at Millhouse, he went from a mid-tier hero to one of the strongest. Why is that? Because there are so many ways to generate extra gold economy with minions. Not just with Deck Swabby and Free Dealing Gambler anymore, but now there's a ton of additional ways. And okay, let me pause before I go off into a Millhouse tangent. Let's get back on track. Power leveling. The win conditions are on tier 5 and 6, and that's fine. That's where they should be. But what's not fine is how easy Blizzard has made it to get there, which is why high roll games are so common now. Heroes that can power level with ease, say like Olmu, or pick up additional gold economy and collect pairs like Maiev and Rafam, they fit perfectly into this type of meta. You grab a few Selementals or grab like a free dealing gambler early game, find a pair or two, find your triple, power level to Tavern 5 on turn 7, discover your 6 drop and win the game. Or go to Tavern 4 on turn 6 and grab like a Bran, Nomi, or a Genie. That's essentially how you win in this meta. You can't stay at 4 and pick up Divine Shield, mech kind of builds, you'll just get crushed by stats. You're forced to power level and either high roll with elementals, tack to win with Divine Shields and Baron and Poisons, or find a hyper specific build like Macaw Beasts or like a Kaligos Nadina Dragon build. No one enjoys getting smacked for like 20 plus health from someone who's just power leveled and tripled their way into a high roll game. I think in this meta there are too many tools that make it easy to power level, and too few tools that allow you to stabilize in the mid game. Long story short, elementals are king, and it's high roll or die. Okay, nothing groundbreaking there. Everyone knows that elementals are the top tribe. But let's move on to our second point and talk about why. Why are they so good? I mean, there are a few reasons that are really apparent to everyone. First is the scaling. There are so many ways to scale with elementals, but one thing I want to note here is that you scale when you play elementals. There's only one, I think, there's only Arcane Assistant with a Battlecry buff effect for elementals. The majority of the scaling is centered around playing elementals to scale them. But not just late game, it starts on turn 3. I mean, Party Elemental is up there with Spawn for its overall play impact. Quick side note, Micro Mummy is a sneaky great card, I'm starting to realize that. Oh, and look what else is up there, Selamental. But look at Party Elemental's play impact. It's already top tier, but then when you triple it, it's insane. It blows every other early game card out of the water, even Spawn. But then you pair it with something like Selamental, and you can see why early game scaling with Elementals is so damn strong. But it doesn't stop there. That extends to the mid game with a card like Major Domu, and obviously obviously end game has Nomi and Lil Rag. That's 4 ways to scale with this tribe, not counting Arcane Assistant. Murlocs have a good amount of ways to scale as well, but you really need a brand with them. What do other tribes have? Demons have Wrathweaver and Floating Watcher, but Wrathweaver, it deals damage to you for the trade-off of scaling. And really, unless you have both of those cards together, there is 0 chance you can keep up with the other tribes. Mechs? What do mechs have? Iron Sensei? Is that it? I don't know. That's pretty much it, right? Pirates have Gold Grubber and Salty Looter, but I mean, pirates have their own unique way of scaling. They do it in combat with units like Rib Snarl Captain, the Wind Fury Tier 5 Pirate, and Dread Admiral. And they have Hogger that lets you cycle like crazy, and you can scale your pirates with the 4-5 Buffer Pirate. I also can't remember that one's name either. But they do have kind of their own unique scaling mechanic. Dragons, Kaligos, and Razorgore. That's it. So my point is that elementals have 4 strong ways to scale. Most other tribes have 2 at best. Oh, and I forgot to mention Gar. But scaling isn't the only issues with elementals. In fact, it may not even be their biggest issue. It's the scaling coupled with their ability to generate gold economy. If you've ever watched one of my past videos, you've probably heard me talk about the importance of gold economy. Your gold is how you do things in this game. Buy cards, level, hero power. And with more gold, it means you can do more of those things. And if you're doing more of those 3 things than the other players in the lobby, you're going to increase your chances to win. It's as simple as that, nerds. So let's look at the elemental cards that provide extra gold economy and compare them to other tribes. So with elementals, both of the tier 1s provide additional gold economy. Obviously, Selamental, you sell it and you get the extra 2/2 minion back and refreshing anatomy. You get a free roll saving you 1 gold, or in Millhouse's case 2. And on tier 5, there are Genie and Tavern Tempest. And you can actually argue Stasis Elemental creates gold economy since it has a chance to add things like Selamental, Tavern Tempest, and Genie to the shop, which you can then buy. So let's call it 4.5 cards of their tribe generate gold economy. Let's compare that to, say, Murlocs. They have Tidehunter and Primal Fin. But keep in mind, with Tidehunter, you need 2 spaces on your board to benefit from the gold economy, unlike Selamental where you only need 1. Plus, with Selamental, after you sell it, you can hold the 2/2 in your hand until it's advantageous to play it or sell it off. Dragons have Murazan, that's it. Beasts have only Alley Cat, and same thing with Tidehunter, you need the board space. Mechs, nothing, they don't have anything. Demons, nothing, they got nothing. Pirates, they have Dex Swabby, Free Dealing Gambler, and the ultimate gold generator Hogger. And you may be thinking, well, pirates have a good amount of ways to generate gold economy, should they be better? Yeah, maybe, but they don't have the tricks up their sleeve like Divine Shields and Poisons. They do have a Wind Fury, but a lot of times you can't even play the 6-7 tier 5 unit due to board space. I still can't think of its name. But with Elementals, you have a Divine Wind Fury boy, plus kind of that Cleave Light minion with Wildfire Elemental, and much more ways to scale. So with two tribes that are stats versus stats, the Elementals win. And in a meta where if you go pirates, you either run into huge elementals which outstat you, or Divine Shield Poisonous Tech, it makes sense why pirates are so weak right now. Okay, sorry, little tangent there. Essentially what I'm saying is that elementals provide so many more tools to generate extra gold economy compared to other tribes. And when you pair that with heroes that can take advantage of power leveling, well, that's when you get a meta like we're currently in now. Omu and Millhouses are power leveling to Tavern 5 on turn 7, where Foms and Maevs and Jandices are tripling their way to win conditions, and everyone else is fighting over the crumbs that is 4th place. But look, this effect is then compounded with how elementals scale. You get to Tavern 5, you find a scaling minion like a Nomi or a Rag, and you start to cycle elementals. And it blows my mind that no one is talking about this one specific card in Reddit or on streams. Selamental. I honestly think this might be the strongest card in the game. I'm not kidding, guys. The plays this card allows you to pull off is insane. You can power level with it, use this one minion for +2/+2 in buffs from Party Elemental, Rag, Major Domu, Nomo, or more if you have multiple of those, and use it as a triple generator. I mean, we talked about how you need a board space for Alley Cat and Tidehunter earlier, not with Selamental. Think about those times when you've played 2 Alley Cats. You have 4 spots on your board taken up by 1/1s. But with Selamental, you only have 2, allowing for more room to fill with better minions. But that's not even really accurate. Honestly, you only need 1 open spot since you can hold the 2/2 in your hand after you sell it, no need to play it. And if you triple a Selamental, when you sell it, you get 2 water droplets. Yes, I paused the recording to look up what they're called, in your hand, and then find another Selamental for another triple. It's insane. It really is. And all of that for an investment of 1 gold. 1 gold gives you the ability to power level, scale out of control, and generate a crazy amount of triples. This card is broken. Okay, so let's do a quick recap. The state of the meta is elementals are giant statted minions and everyone else needs to play Divine Shield Poisonous Tech to be able to have a chance against them. And the reason why elementals are so strong is because 1, they scale better than any other tribe in the game and have more ways to do it. And 2, they provide a ton of additional gold economy, and when you pair that with heroes that can take advantage of that extra gold economy to power level and find Nomis and Brands and other win condition minions, or pick up pairs and generate more triples than other heroes to discover those same win conditions, that's when you get this type of meta, where you need to high roll to win or tech to stay alive. Which brings us back to our third topic. What can we do about it? I said before, I honestly don't know, but I do have some thoughts, and it starts with Selamental. Honestly, take it out of the game. Seriously, just take it out of the game. Being on Tavern 5 or 6 and freezing for a tier 1 minion should not happen. Well, I guess unless it's a triple, but I mean, you get my point. No one's freezing for Alley Cats or Red Whelps or Scallywags, but they are for Selementals. Again, it just does way too much. It really should be replaced. Blizzard, not every card needs a unique effect. Stats are fine. Even something like a 1/2 with Divine Shield, you could still buff it with Party Elementals later on or scale it with a Nomi or a Rag. But it isn't something that allows you to do stupidly broken things like Selamental does. So that's step 1, take Selamental out of the game. Step 2, I think Genie needs to go back to a tier 6. I'm not really sure exactly how to do this. You'd probably have to drop Garb down to a tier 5 and rework its stats and maybe the scaling effect that it gets, but I honestly don't know. But I do think Genie is still too strong where it sits right now. And then other tribes need to be addressed as well. In my opinion, demons need a complete rework. They should be completely scrapped and redone. They can't scale as well as other tribes, don't have divine shields, don't have poison, don't have good death rattle cards. They got nothing. Maybe in the short term, move Mal'Ganis down to Tavern 4, that way if you have a Wrath Reaver, I don't know, maybe you can try to scale it at least, I don't know. And mechs need a better way to scale. And I think mechs are important right now. We need a comp with Divine Shield that can counter this poisonous tech everyone is running around with. It's good to have multiple counter builds in a meta, otherwise everyone just falls into the same builds over and over and over again, like we're seeing now. First, just remove Junkbot, it's worthless, absolutely garbage. Or maybe just move it back down to Tavern 4 and give mechs a scaling card at Tavern 5. Something like a mech party elemental, like a 5/5 that gives a random mech +2/+2 for each mech you play. You pair that with like an Iron Sensei, and you may actually have a way to scale mechs to where they could be viable again. In Dragon, Beasts, and Murlocs, I think they are all in an okay spot. If they nerf elementals and buff mechs and demons, I'd be interested to see how that affects the meta. You probably shouldn't address all tribes at once, just the outliers. But those are just a few ideas. I don't know exactly what the changes should be, but I do think they have to do something. At the very least, start making elementals a bannable tribe, for the love of God. All I know is that no one is enjoying this meta right now, but given how slow Blizzard has been to implement change in the past, I'm not confident that this will change anytime soon. And do me a favor, if you liked the video, like the damn video. My views to like percentage is depressingly low. The like button and comments are really the only way a tiny channel like mine gets noticed by the YouTube algorithm. Also, about 75% of my views are from people not subscribed to the channel. It's puzzling, a bit disrespectful, and honestly, it hurts. I have a fragile ego, and recognition from strangers on the internet certainly helps. Nah, but seriously, if you like the content, sub to the channel, otherwise there's a very high chance I never pop up in your feed again. I'll be lost in the vast space of the YouTube universe. But enough ranting from me. I wish you all the best. Good luck in your games. Godspeed, nerds.